So, hello everyone. Just waiting for my time on my computer to go from 59 to 00. Okay, there we go. Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are. We've got quite a crowd here from all over the globe, it seems. I'm delighted to welcome you all to this How to IATEFL webinar. Most of the how-to webinars are recorded without live audience, but we felt because this was a so-called peer-to-peer webinar where individuals, members, first-time attendees were going to be speaking about their personal experiences rather than having one of us from IATEFL or someone who's been to loads of conferences telling you what you can do when you come for the first time. We thought it would be a great idea to have people who have experienced this, who are just like all the rest of you, talk about their experiences. And I'd like to especially thank one of our speakers, Fiona MacLachlan, who came up with this idea. We began chatting on Facebook about it and set up the format, started inviting people, and everyone we asked said, absolutely great idea, we'd love to take part. So and I also want to, of course, thank Sean Wilden from LTSIG, who has so kindly agreed to take care of the technical aspects of this. Without Sean, this wouldn't be possible. Also, Louise Atkins from IATEFL, the Deputy Executive Officer, who set up the webinar, set up the Adobe room, got the registration going, and so on. This has made a huge difference in these webinars. So a couple of little housekeeping things. If you would like to add your country after your name, you can go to the attendees bar, which is under the webcam picture you see. To the right, it says Attendee 66 at the moment, and then all the way to the right is a little drop-down menu. If you click on that, it allows you to edit your information and you can add your country. I see several have done that already, and we'll be reminding you throughout. Another thing is, each of the presenters will talk for 5 minutes, and at the very end, we will come back. We'll try to get everyone on screen, and that will be the question-answer time. So if you have questions while they are speaking, simply type it in the questions for presenters box. Please don't type in, "Hi, my name is," in that box. Use the other chat box, the one that says General Chat on the right side of the screen. But under the slides, it says Questions for Presenters, and that's where you type your questions. And then when we come back, after all the presenters have spoken, we will deal with those questions. Okay. Well, I'm a little bit early, but I don't think I have anything else here that I need to say to you. Each presenter is going to talk for about 5 minutes on 2 different topics. I'll come back on to introduce the next one. So we are starting off today, and I'm thrilled to have Sergio Juan Gomez with us from Spain, who is going to give us his tips on being a first-time attendee at an annual IATEFL conference.
Hello everyone, can you all hear me? Okay, well, thank you very much to Marjorie, who invited me to do this, to talk to you, and thank you very much to everyone who's attending, and well, to the IATEFL team for organizing these events. I'm going to talk about 2 things, which are how to meet people at the conference, which for me was quite important, and then tips to prepare. For me, the most important thing, for meeting people, was like networking. IATEFL has groups online that you can join. For example, they have a Facebook group, and that's what I found really useful. I met lots of people there. I followed some of the posts. I read them like regularly when I like had the intention of going to IATEFL when I thought about it. And I just thought that it would be good to also like read the names and see who's there and how or who I could meet, just not to feel lonely, not to feel alone at the conference. For me, the most important thing was the groups. I know they have a Twitter group, but I'm not really, I don't really use Twitter much. So I mainly follow the group. And also, they also have like SIG groups, which I think also have their website. Mine was PonSig. And I also followed I read some of their posts regularly, and I kind of like followed like what they were going to do and everything, and that was really, really helpful. Then at the conference, having done that, I actually met a lot of people that I had previously met online, because IATEFL, the good thing is that it's like a community, and it's a community of friends. So you do see, like, for example, a lot of people at webinars like today, and you eventually like become Facebook friends, and then with the people I had already met online. So I posted on Facebook, and we agreed to meet at the conference, and then we also set up a Facebook conversation. So it was easy to see each other at the conference, and then we try to be together, and also like to socialize after the sessions and everything. Some of them are here, like Teresa, for example, or like Pri, for example, and we really had a good time. But for me, the most important thing and the best thing I can tell you is that you try to network, to find people on Facebook. Generally, like everybody at IATEFL is very helpful. Marjorie has been really, really helpful, and they're all really, really approachable, and talk to them and try to follow them as well, because we also try to share things that are like information about webinars, information about sessions, and then it's really, really nice when you really get to see those people like face to face, when you talk to them, when you see that they're real, and that's the best tip I could give you. Then after that, tips to prepare. For me, the most important thing was the official conference program. They actually give it to you. It's like a huge book that they give you like right at the start, the first day of the conference. But it's usually available like about, I think, a month. They have like the final update of that book. So what I found really, really useful was that well, I downloaded it to my iPad, because the book is huge, and as we're all teachers and we love books, and then like we tend to buy books and to get lots of lots of things at the conference, like from the different publishers and everything. So I downloaded it to my iPad. I had it in digital format, and once we the conference, I started selecting like the meetings I really wanted to attend, and I think that's really, really useful and really helpful, because sometimes there are like about 24 sessions at the same time, so it's almost impossible to, obviously it's impossible to go to all of them, so you have to choose. So choosing that before is really, really helpful if you really want to make the best use of your time. So to really prepare and to really try to see what's going on and what you're interested in, what you're interested in, and also in between the sessions, like what I used to do was that among like if there were like 24 sessions, I had previously selected like 24 before going there, and so I talked to the people who I met about like the 3 or like the 7 of them, and then I tried to come up with one that I really wanted to attend. I think that was really useful because as I told you, it's nearly impossible even when you're there to really have time to look at everything like on the day and to read everything. My selection was mainly based on my interests. My SIG is the PronSig, so most of the sessions were related to pronunciation, and that's all I can tell you. Thank you very much for listening.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sophie. That was perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect timing as well. Great. And we've got the slides going again. Sorry about that, everyone. Thank you. So our
Thank you.
next presenter is Nina Jaroncic from Slovenia, who's going to talk about these two topics. Hello, Nina. I will turn off.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, I do. And I'm turning off.
All right. Excellent. So, hello to everybody, to all corners of the world. My name is Nina. I'm so excited to be talking to you here today. So the topics that I kind of have to cover are two. We'll start in the reverse order. How to meet people at the conference. Now, Sergio mentioned a special interest group. He mentioned that he was in the PRONSIG. And actually special interest groups, or SIGs, also organize their pre-conference events. That's basically the day before the main part of the conference. And the pre-conference events are basically what I thought was the most useful start to the whole conference, because well, it's very interactive, it's workshopy, it lasts for the whole day. So you really get the chance to not only meet the people that are very much interested in the same things as you are, but also you spend a lot of time with them the whole day. So you get a chance to meet them, to really discuss, and that's why I thought it was really, really useful. Also for later, because it really gives you a chance to connect and to get to know everybody. So as I said, this is a whole day event, really, really fun. And the group of people that I met during the during the pre-conference event, that was a teacher development special interest group. Well, I ended up spending most of the conference with them. So yeah, and I had a lovely experience. I was really worried at the beginning that that I was too young to really contribute to any kind of discussion. But all my fears were for nothing, because obviously all the teachers were just lovely and they make you feel welcome. So really, if you're scared of, putting yourself out there or just being there talking, then, forget it. It's really such a great experience. Okay, and the second part, so how really to cope with being a first-time attendee. As I said, I mean, meeting the people at a pre-conference event is a really good start, because then you can kind of attach yourself to them and also follow them around if you're completely lost. And as I said, you have similar interests right off the bat, people who think the same way. So yeah, they might give you some opinions, what could be worth looking at, which sessions are interesting, what's maybe controversial at the moment. So that's really, really useful. Also, it's a good idea to maybe contact your national or regional association of English teachers. Chances are some of their representatives are also attending the conference, and you can get a lot of useful information there. Maybe find a buddy to help you navigate your way to England, around the town where you'll be staying, or just generally around the conference. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that, as Sergio mentioned, there are so many sessions going on at once. It's kind of difficult to decide, and my honest advice would be just don't stress yourself too much over it. There's no way, unfortunately, to see all the wonderful presentations that are happening at the same time. Sorry, it's impossible. And just kind of make your peace with that and enjoy yourself. And also take your time to maybe go out as well, to do some sightseeing, so that you're not completely drained by the end of the evening, because there's still a lot of things happening after the sessions. The dances, or just hanging out with your newly made friends, and that really is an important part of the conference as well. So it's not just listening to workshops and talks and stuff. You're there to meet people as well, and I think this is really an important aspect. And for first-time speakers, I would also just like to tell you that, in case you worry how this is all going to be, probably it's your first really big event, stop worrying. I think the teachers are just such a good crowd. I felt incredibly welcome and not scared for a second. So I really think this is a really great opportunity for anybody that wants to make it, wants to go to this conference. And yeah, I have had a wonderful time. And that would more or less, I hope, conclude my 10 minutes. I hope you found this useful, and that would be that would be it from me. Back to you, Marjorie.
Fantastic, Nina. That is so great. We met, I think, in Slovenia, and you were a student of Moitz's, yes, and it's just great seeing you at IATEFL, and so interesting to hear it from that point of view. We do try to make it a very inclusive and welcoming conference. This is one of the things people always say about IATEFL. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Next we have, and I think you were a scholarship winner, weren't you? I think so. Well, we have another scholarship winner coming up, Jamie Miller, who is, I put USA and UK. Hope that's okay, Jamie. So over
That's all
to
right.
you.
Can you hear me okay?
All right, great. Yes.
All right. Okay, yeah. So I was going to talk a little bit about managing expenses because I think one of the biggest issues for a lot of people is the money. If it wasn't a problem, like a lot more people would go. So I wanted to talk about that just a little bit. Obviously, one of the best things that people try to do is to get somebody to sponsor them to go to the conference or, you know, win a scholarship. But for most people, it may not actually be a realistic alternative. So what I wanted to recommend is that you try to find out if you can claim the expenses of going to the conference as a tax deduction. And depending on the country that you're in, professional development, you know, flights, accommodations, food, and any other registration costs for going to something that makes you a better professional, it might be something that you can claim when you submit your taxes. And that's how, yeah, sorry?
You don't have your webcam on.
My webcam is not on? Really?
Nope, it's not on.
Okay, wait, let me try another one because it's showing it for me. That's so crazy. Hang on, we were having some issues with that before. Let me try another one. What about this? Start sharing. Oh.
That looks better. Okay, I'm turning off.
Can you see it? Because I can, oh wait, now I can see myself. All right. Oh my gosh. All right. We've got like too many things. Yeah, so what I was saying is that if you can claim your expenses as a tax deduction, then it might make it easier for you to go and, you know, a way to justify it to yourself that, you know, it is worth going. And another thing is that when you're choosing to stay in a hotel, get in touch with IATEFL members on Facebook, or, you know, try to make some other connections and find out if anybody would share a hotel room with you, because that's a way to definitely cut down on the costs as well. And otherwise, you know, just keep track of everything that you spend so that later, you know, if you're able to take it as a tax deduction, you can. And that, for me, helps justify the cost of it, you know, because it definitely is worth going. As Nina and Sergio were saying before, they've got some really good ideas about networking. That's the other thing I want to talk about here really quickly, is you should definitely keep track of the people that you meet, because for me, the connections that I've made with people absolutely justify going and spending the money at the conference, because it's not just what you learn, which is all of these really great ideas, but also the ability to have a whole new network of professional connections. I tried to collect business cards at the 2015 conference, and I got home and I had like all these cards with nobody's faces, and it was really confusing. So I'm not going to do that again this year when I go. I'm thinking that instead I'm actually just going to bring a book, like a notebook, and I'm going to have lists for people who are interested in my interests. So like if I meet another school owner, I'll put them on a specific list. If I meet another teacher trainer, I'll put them on a list. Anybody who's about pronunciation, I'll put on a different list, so that I've got like an actual thing that I can look back at later and refer to. And I've emailed a lot of the teachers who I met at IATEFL since I was there. They've helped me answer questions that I had about how to deal with certain things, and that ongoing support, you know, not just following them on Facebook, but like having really extensive conversations with some of them have totally justified the cost of going. So that's what I would suggest that you do, is like make those connections so that even months later you can still follow up with people, and that's going to make it a really, really valuable experience for you. All I got.
Okay, thank you, Jamie. That's great. Very helpful and amazingly organized. I'll be very interested in hearing how it goes. Okay, next one is Psych Anama Kumaran. I don't know if I said it right. Anama Kumaran, I hope so. And Psych is going to talk about being there for the first time and give some more tips on travel. Psych, I believe, was also a scholarship winner. And Psych is from India. So, Psych, are you ready to come on? Okay.
He's coming. He was chatting a second ago, so he'll be there.
Okay. Yes, we tested all of this in the hour before, but this is technology. Okay. And to remind everyone, please type questions only for the presenters in the box below the slides. Okay, great. There's Psych. Okay, I'm turning off. Bye, everyone. Psych, we can't hear you. The sound is not yet working.
It says your mic's on, so just... Oh, did you? Sorry, your mic's not on.
Can you try the icon at the top of the screen again? Give it a minute here. Yeah, Rosie, we know on this.
It's like, is your mic green? Because it's not showing up at all anymore.
Yep, we know it's, yeah.
No, you should be able to hear me and Marjorie. We're trying to fix Psych sound now.
So you can hear, are you hearing Psych or are you hearing Sean?
I think he's frozen because his video is just frozen for me.
It is frozen. Okay, so any ideas here?
Suggest we just go. I'll remove him from the room so he can come back in. If Fiona's ready, we'll go to Fiona. We'll just go backwards.
Okay. If we do that, we'll jump to Fiona. Is that okay, Fiona?
Great. Thank you, Fiona. If you come on, I'll deal with Psych.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Just 1 second here. Okay. We're working on getting Psych's microphone working. It seems his connection froze. So we're going to jump to Fiona MacLachlan. I'm working on the CH here.
Hi.
Who's going to tell, this is Spain, who's going to talk about experiences at the conference and those to take home, as well as some tips to prepare. Okay, over to you, Fiona.
Can you hear me now? Yeah? Yes, good, great, brilliant. I can see me, so I hope you can as well. Sorry about the problems with Psych. He will be back. I've got these two aspects to talk about. I'm going to kind of look offside here because I've got a big list. Sorry about that. I don't like looking away. A lot of what I was going to say has already been said, so I'll just echo some bits and bobs. Experiences at the conference and to take home, that's the biggest thing. That's really why we go, I reckon. I think it was Nina who said the PCE, the pre-conference events, the special interest groups. To me, earlier this year was my first experience of IATEFL. I didn't go as a speaker apart from at a PCE. I just went as a delegate. But the PCE was the best thing I felt in terms of kind of the richest experience, both as kind of regular delegate and as a potential speaker, because it's not just what you learn about the profession, it's the people that you meet there. They're from all over. I mean, it's really quite humbling. I think particularly as a speaker, you kind of get so much more information about the teaching realities of the other people who are at the conference. You know, the people from Nigeria, from China, from India, from Argentina, from, you know, completely different teaching worlds. So for me, that was the best starting point. Just it really helped me know or find out where I was, who I was with, who I was talking to, and also so much more about my own profession. I would also recommend, I think Nina mentioned, no, Jamie, sorry, mentioned a notebook. This is for noting experiences. It's not just the business card thing. It's why you might want to get in touch with those people again, or just moments, you know, instead of carting a big notebook around. I take these, I don't know if you can see them. These are Moleskines, all right? This is about the same size as my passport. I carry those and I write down, and I have like three. I can have a worky thing and a personal thing and a thoughts that went through my mind thing. And if you get the slightly bigger size, there's my hand so that you can see how big that is. The bigger Moleskines have got a pocket in the back, and you can put people's business cards in there, and then like make a little note as to so and so was this and so was that, and that's another way of looking after all that stuff. But it is just noting down your experiences and the thoughts and the people, and it's not just the ELT stuff. And on that subject, for me, yes, the best experiences at the conference are the people, the PCE, chatting to the people in the book exhibition, the publishers exhibition, particularly in the smaller stands. The bigger stands are just massive kind of overload of people in a way. Some of the smaller stands, you get these really good conversations going. Also, conversations off site. You know, it's going to get overwhelming when you're there. It's so big, so many people, everybody running around, everybody talking about ELT as well for 4 days. It gets a bit much, to be honest. So set yourself some getaway time. Go to cafes and bars and restaurants and chat to the local people as well, not just teachers all the time, particularly if you're traveling an incredibly long way. Two of my sort of most memorable conversations from this year from Manchester was with the guy who worked in a craft beer bar. It's going to tell you a lot about my interests other than teaching. And a waitress, because I'm 5'10", which is pretty tall, and this girl was about 6'2", and we just had one of these tall people conversations, and I ended up staying and talking to her for about an hour. So, you know, dare to enjoy yourself. Don't just go for ELT. Did I have that? Yes, I did. Craft brewery. Yeah, Brewdog. Of course I did. Tips for preparation. I've got 5 and I'll say them as fast as possible. First, the Facebook group that Sergio mentioned. Get yourself onto the IATEFL Facebook group. It's just called IATEFL, and the special interest groups and some of the, you know, the ELT teachers groups and ELT pigs and all those groups, and get to know people via Facebook. Get yourself some business cards, or I don't ever put emails or stuff on my business cards. I just put my name and then I write on them what information I want to share, because I don't want everybody to have my personal email, my phone number, whatever. So, but get yourself something, because you tend to hand out these, everybody's asking you for contacts. Lonely Planet's webpage, and I'm going to type it into the chat box in a second. Lonely Planet, this saved my life in Manchester. Even, or, you know, organising restaurants. I ended up being the person who knew the most about the Manchester restaurants in several groups of people. And I'd never been to Manchester. Well, I had, but 30 years previously. Lonely Page, Birmingham, UK. Remember, there's another Birmingham in Alabama or somewhere. But check it out. That's brilliant for hotels. It's brilliant for restaurants, a whole lot. Packing wrinkle-proof clothes, clothes you can combine. It's busy. You don't have time for hand washing or ironing. You've got that you need space in your suitcase. You don't want to think, and the weather could be all kinds of stuff. And I think that's about it. Yes, and Marjorie's come to chuck me off. So there you go. Bye.
No one ever talks about packing. This is just great. And it's really cool information. I think that if it or the jacket in the plastic stuff that the cleaners give you with your hangers and just fold them over, you can take them out, hang them up, and they seem to work fine. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Fiona. So we're going to try Psych. It looks like the microphone is working. Let's see if he comes on. I'll have to move. I'm going to leave it up to Sean to move the slides.
You're going to go to Tyson.
We're going to Tyson. Okay. So, Tyson Deepburn. Hope I said it right. Deepburn. I'm going to talk about experiences at the conference as well as some tips. Okay, over to you.
Okay, hi there. The interesting thing that has just happened is my fire alarm is just going off. So it's just the apartment fire alarm. So if you hear a beeping, I don't know how loudly you hear it, but I'll try to just talk over it. It's not an emergency. Oh, good, it stopped. Okay, so I'm here to talk about some experiences that I had when attending IATEFL. I'm from Canada, so it was quite a journey to get over there, and it was something that I'd been planning to do for quite a bit of time. And I think that my experiences might be just a little bit different from someone who is coming sort of carte blanche over to IATEFL, in that for me, my experience was about meeting my PLN. And people who I've been in contact with and talking to over the internet through blogs and things like that over the last 5 years or so, I met them for the first time, and sometimes, in some cases, a second time, but it was an overwhelmingly pleasant series of hugs and smiles. So that is really the main experience that I had. Also, one conversation with one person who I just met. PLN is a personal learning network, so the group of people that I know online. What it turned into was I would be talking to one person and we'd be having a nice conversation, and then another person that I knew would show up, and it would sort of interrupt it in a fun, delightful way, and I would have a new conversation starting with them, and then that one would be interrupted by another person that I knew. And that experience was really amazing because it showed the power of connections and the networking that had really been built up over the 5 years. Another thing I noticed was that the number of sessions that I wanted to go at this conference far outnumbered the number of sessions I wanted to go to at other conferences. There was just so much volume. There was so many things happening at the same time. And I liked that the sessions were 30 minutes long as well, because even if you were picking a session that wasn't so good in the end, which actually didn't really happen very much, it was really only for 30 minutes. So you can keep in mind that there's a lot to go to, and the quality of the sessions really go above and beyond what I had experienced in other places. And then finally, in terms of experiences, the evenings were equally as enjoyable as the day sessions themselves. So there's a variety of things that happen in the evening, which I think you should keep your evenings open for. Some of which are organized events by IATEFL sponsors, like the British Council, for example. It was at a historical building, and it had appetizers and drinks for free, and there was a lot of time in a great environment to talk to everybody. But also there's different things that are happening with different people that you meet at the conference. In fact, they say, hey, let's just go out for dinner tonight and have a couple of drinks, and you just kind of go with the flow. That's what I found worked the best. So in terms of how I prepared, one thing that I would suggest is to keep yourself in the loop of what's happening at IATEFL. You might watch some videos of talks from last year's conference. They can actually help you know what types of things were being talked about at the conference, as well as sort of the more contentious topics or talks. it can help you see, interviews with people at last year's conference to see who they are and what they look like and what people talked about and how everybody felt about the different types of topics. Anyway, I think doing a little bit of homework about what's been going on last year might be a good way, because people are going to be talking about those things here and there. I would also suggest, as I mentioned, a lot of my experience was meeting people that I had either met once online, offline before, or was the first time. And it made the experience a lot better, because I know a lot of people go to conferences and they feel kind of lonely. And they wonder, how do you network? And really the way that I did that was to build these networks online before I ever got to the conference. I would bring currency. Last year I only brought a very little bit of currency, and I was hoping that the bank machines would work, but unfortunately the ATMs, the bank machines didn't work with my credit card or my debit card from Canada, so I ran out of money kind of quickly, so I had to rely on some other. Tip is look at the day schedule in advance and maybe circle some of the sessions that you want to go to. But on the day of, I didn't bring the big book. I actually just brought the summary page. So there's usually a fold-out summary page of all the talks, and that's easier to carry around with you. And keep in mind that like other people said, you can't go to everything. And really the conversations that you have with the people during the sessions itself is just as valuable as the sessions. So Marjorie, you're up there, so do you want to cut me off?
Yeah, actually my screen
Okay,
froze
perfect.
and I couldn't get back in. Bringing currency is a good idea. There are last year I remember machines at the venue, but it is a good idea to let your bank know. And I found out sometimes you need to let your bank know that you're going to be using your credit card abroad. So if you're coming, for example, from Canada, the US, somewhere, let your bank know that yes, there will be charges on your credit card overseas, so that you don't have to suddenly call your bank to have them unstop your credit card, which can happen. So very helpful.
Hello.
So are we going to hear psych?
Hello.
I think so, yes.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm turning
Yeah,
off.
okay.
Excellent.
Actually, yeah, my system got restarted. That's why, and now I'm using mobile. And anyway, thank you very much for the patience you showed, and thank you, Marjorie, for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
Like, we don't see you though. Can you start your webcam, or does it not work on a mobile? Okay,
It's
there you go.
perfectly fine.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Marjorie. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear? Okay. Yeah, can you hear? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Hear me? Okay. I think you. And just I want to share something about travel and accommodation first. And probably you will be traveling from London or some other big cities in the UK, and you can have you can have air or rail or coach, and I prefer rail firstly because I found that for Virgin train only it costs around 10 GBP to move to Birmingham, or if it is Manchester, then it will be very cheap for 10 GBP, and you have to book it just at the off-peak times. I mean 6:20, before 6:20 a.m. and I think after the off-peak hours it will be 40 to 80 GBP for the Virgin train. You can have it from London Euston, and the next way is by using a coach. I think all of you know that National Express and Megabus are the major operators, and I prefer Megabus because it charges only around £7 to Birmingham from London and from the many major cities of the UK. And regarding the accommodation, you know that reservation highway normally we already just made it very clear that in the website of IATEFL. And if you prefer, or if it is convenient for me, for you just to book a hotel, then go for it. But it costs nearly 68 to 100 GBP per night. But we use hostels. And if you're coming with friends, it's easy to have accommodation in hostels, because for a dormitory or a triple room or twin rooms, it costs only 30 GBP for a night. And if you want to have a bath attached room, it costs only 40 GBP per night. So I think preferably we can have hostel. It's very cheaper, and I recommend Hatte's Hostel in Birmingham for you. And let me sum up by giving you the last point, and it's about the how to deal with being there and how to make most of it by using the conference official program book that's here with me, that I had from Manchester, and just plan everything. It's because I think it's okay. Just plan everything and come over to see you there in Birmingham. Thank you so much. I'm a little bit excited because I don't have set because the very start problem of my computer. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Syke. That was great. And the information about travel is wonderful. I think many people don't think about this. It's very helpful to know that you could get a cheaper flight to London and then just get on the train or National Express bus. So we should be up to Teresa from Brazil, who's going to again talk about how to get the most out of the conference and some tips to prepare as well. Over to you, Teresa.
Hello, Marjorie. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
First of all, thank you for inviting me. And this has been my third IATEFL conference, and I'm going again next year. And well, I think everybody has given great tips, and well, how to get the most of the conference. First of all, read the brochure beforehand. It's very important that you see who is going to talk and who is going to talk about the topics you're interested in. But check the rooms, because the distance between one room and the other can be very big. So make sure that you get to the rooms in time. Some of the main conferences, I mean the main speakers' talks, they get really packed. But don't worry, because the sessions are usually recorded. What I usually do is I go to talks by speakers I've never heard before, first-time speakers who come from very different contexts. And that helps me think outside the box. It helps me with creativity, because what they're doing in their classrooms are maybe totally different from what I'm doing. So that's a lot of food for thought. Well, the conference is about connecting to people. And one good thing about this conference is that everybody speaks the same language, so no need for translators, interpreters. So the idea is to connect with whomever you like, whomever you feel that you have something to do with. So, well, what I do is I try to connect to presenters. So after their talks and workshops, I usually ask them more questions for their email addresses. They love to share more, because the presentations are really short compared to the amount of information that you can get from them. Well, I always take notes of the presentations, because you see, you can get the slides later, you can get to watch the presentations later on in the recordings, but your impressions, your ideas, your feelings towards the presentations will be recorded somehow. And as a mentor, I like to share these ideas with the teachers from the school where I work through talks, workshops, and so I think this is a brilliant way of keeping those ideas. Well, tips to prepare. So everybody has talked, has given very important tips, and I'm going to illustrate my tip with a story. When I first attended IATEFL, I didn't have any ideas of what I was going to find. I didn't even know what my real expectations were. But I had a great PLN in Brazil, and I had lots of people I interacted with. So I just asked them who is going to the IATEFL conference, and Rosalie said, yes, I'm going to the IATEFL conference. So she was just someone, hi Rosalie, just someone I interacted with on Facebook discussions. And we set up to meet in London one day before the conference. And we discovered so many things in common. We had a great time together in London. We even traveled to the conference together on the same train because I bought a ticket, a train ticket that is anytime ticket. So I could go anytime I wanted, or you can buy also off-peak hours. So if you miss one train, then you can get on the next one. So that's a great tip. It's a little bit more, but you don't get stressed out because you're going to miss the train, or if you want to stay a bit longer at the conference on the last day, you can just forget about getting to the station on a very specific time. So since then, Rosalie and I have been great friends, like we chat almost every day. We went to the conference together in 2013, even though we were not staying at the same hotel. But then in 2014, we stayed at the same hotel. And then Priscilla came along in 2015 this year, just like Facebook friends, you know, people that you don't, you just chat online with. And so this is all about people and connecting with people. So what I would tell you, okay, hi Marjorie, I think I'm talking too much, but then it's,
Well, we got a little behind on time.
yeah, I know
Do you
that.
want to say one more thing, Teresa?
Well,
no, because we had some technical things.
Okay, so just go to the PCEs, as Nina said, because this is a great opportunity for you to connect with people and get to know people before you go to the conference. I think it's impossible to stay alone or to feel lonely at the IATEFL conference. That's all.
Fantastic. Amazing story that 3 people from Brazil met in the UK and became friends. Wonderful. Okay, Pete, you are up next. Pete Rutherford from South Africa originally, living in Germany.
Great. Thanks for the introduction, Marjorie. Hi, everyone. It's great to see so many people online for this how-to session. Just out of interest, I was wondering if you could maybe in the chat box just add, put a number in there to say perhaps how many IATEFL annual conferences you've been to. And obviously for the majority of you that number will be 0, but I'm sure within the audience there are a few people who've been before. Okay, great, 110. Okay, a nice spread. Okay, I'd like also just to ask those people that have maybe been to a few, like Kirsten, I saw you've been to 4. You might also want to add some ideas to answer these 2 questions. So please, just any advice you have for the audience, add it to the chat box, because that'll also be available on the recording. I'm going to try and keep this short and snappy, so there's enough time for questions at the end, and then my fellow presenters, speakers can maybe answer some of those. So I'm going to be talking about how to get the most out of the conference and some tips on travel and accommodation. So for that first question, how to get the most out of the conference, there are 2 points that I think are really key. And there are a million ways to do IATEFL, but I think what's quite important is number 1, to plan quite carefully. Before I went to Manchester last year, I've been to quite a few IATEFL BSIG events, often with maybe a few hundred participants. But when I got to Manchester, I was surprised by just the size and scope of the event. It was a bit overwhelming at first, really. Birmingham next year is the 50th annual conference, so I imagine it's going to be even bigger and better than this last year. So if you're planning, I would suggest taking a look at the IATEFL website, because it continuously updates. Things like the program will go up there, go up on the website in advance, so you can get an idea of what sessions you want to go to, what you want to do, and that sort of thing as well. There's also the IATEFL news, which I'm also putting in the chat box there, and that's got a lot of information, the e-bulletins up there, and that'll also have conference information and updates. And then it's also worth maybe following the IATEFL social media kind of groups, and so there's IATEFL on Facebook and also Twitter, and there are also the SIGs. I'll put some examples of those in the chat box as well, and there'll be information about the PCEs and special days. So the more information you have, I think the better and easier it is to plan. Yeah. Okay. The second thing is just pace yourself. And this is something a couple of other people have mentioned. There's just so much to do, and it's very tempting, I think, the first time to try and go to every single session and really do as much as possible. And it can be exhausting over the full length of the conference. So don't feel that you have to go to every single session. Maybe take a bit of time out to wander around the exhibitions, take a look at what the exhibitors have to offer, meet your fellow delegates, go speak to speakers. And it's very easy, I think, on the first time to be a little bit shy, but if you go to an interesting session, go say thank you to the speaker afterwards, get their details, and I think that'll make your whole conference a lot more meaningful, a lot richer, really. And everyone's really great and incredibly friendly. So I think that's a good way to kind of start building a bit of a network in some ways, and often people just have other ideas, and you'll find out about events that are happening, you know, in terms of like the social program. So the more people you speak to, the better, I think. Okay, travel and accommodation. My advice here would be start early, because there's so many people going. You know, there's a huge demand on flights, on trains, on buses, hotels, hostels, and that sort of thing. So if you can find your transport options, find the accommodation you want, rather do that sooner rather than later. You've got the hotel list on the IATEFL website. That's maybe a good place to start, but it's not exhaustive. So you can always arrange your own accommodation. If you look at things like the IATEFL Facebook group, people are often looking for people to maybe share accommodation with, which is also another nice option. It's a great way to perhaps meet people. You know, so you can also try various hotel portals. Things like Airbnb is also quite great. In terms of flights, I think things like I've often used just the Google flights website or Skyscanner to find inexpensive flights. I think for people based in Europe, like myself, it's fairly easy to fly directly to Birmingham. But for people coming from a bit further afield, they might find themselves going through Heathrow or Gatwick or perhaps Manchester, and then taking a bus or a train from there. So again, it's probably best to, once you've got that all in place, I think it's really nice, because then you can focus on the sessions and what you want to listen to and what you want to do in Birmingham. Okay, I see it's just 6 minutes to, so I'm going to hand back to Marjorie. And yeah, if any of you see me in Birmingham, come say.
Wonderful. Thank you, Pete. We've really gotten so much information. We had the idea to put everyone on camera, but I think it might be easiest to just show the question, just to say question time. There is a slide, and whoever feels like answering the question, turn on your mic and answer the question, rather than trying to get everyone back on camera. Does that make sense? So we've got some questions here. Someone asked, sorry, is that Sean?
You can see the questions now underneath the video on the left, the questions that haven't been
Ah,
answered yet.
wonderful. Okay, would someone like to answer the first question? Is it a good idea to stay there all the whole conference or just the first 2 days? Anyone want to jump in?
I think I would stay the whole time. I think it's only once a year, so why not?
That was Tyson, I think. Yeah, I mean, if you can only come for a day or two, then that's the situation. But I think you're right, it's once a year. I'd stay the whole time. I agree. How many will participate? Well, last year we had 2,600, so we're guessing we will have at least that many. What can you learn from the conference? Can it help you in your career? Who would like to jump in there?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes?
Okay, what is the question again?
You see it underneath my webcam. What do you learn from the conference? Did you learn anything new, and can it help you in your career?
Yes, I think that I learned a lot about classroom practice. And yes, we deal with the special needs students, and there are a lot of talks about special needs education. So I think that added a lot to my career as a mentor and as a teacher.
Wonderful. I think we always learn things. Even if it's a presentation you don't think is good, maybe you shouldn't do in a presentation. I have always learned something new at this conference, and I've been teaching for 34 years. So reach out to SIG attendees before the conference, Nina, if how.
Hi, hello, hope you hear me?
Yes?
So I was actually really lucky because a month before the conference, the annual conference in IATEFL, for IATEFL in England, there was a regional conference or a national conference for IATEFL Slovenia. And there were a lot of people still there from the Teaching Development SIG. So I got the chance to, meet them and reach out to them. It wasn't really intentional, but yeah, by the time I actually arrived to the special interest group pre-conference event, I really realized that I actually know a lot of people. So, if you get the chance to attend any of the, local conferences, please do. That's a good idea as well.
Most of the SIGs also have Facebook pages themselves. So if you're planning to go to one of those special interest groups, PCEs, pre-conference events, you could say something on the Facebook group and see if you can start getting in touch with people. Jamie, how can people share a room for cost minimum? Do you want to answer that one? And how many sessions
sure.
you
Well,
can attend?
how many? I think it's just a question of how comfortable you are with lots of people in one room sleeping. So, I don't know. Personal preference, I guess. Maybe 2 to 4. Yeah, it depends on how big the beds are. But I mean, I think you just need to make sure that you're comfortable with the people who are there. So when I went, I stayed with another lady, and that was how we organized it, and it was good. She didn't snore. Everything was nice. So.
And the next question is for you as well. How many sessions
you
can attend?
Well, I don't know, Marjorie, you would know that better than me. I mean, it's a whole lot. I mean, every day I think there's like, 10 or 15 sessions per day?
I don't know. 10 possibly, yeah. And I mean, as many as you can manage. Yeah. If you get into rooms, sometimes rooms are small. And as Teresa said, make sure you go on time. Okay, a Facebook group for scholarship winners. I honestly don't know. I think we need to contact head office about this. Mercedes, can you somehow, let me make a note and find out if there's any problem with this. To receive invitation after payment, this is more a question for me, I guess. Do you mean after you've paid to be at the conference? If this has to do with visas, you have to contact head office. Again, we can put the website here in the chat box. Please contact them with any questions like this. They deal with all of this. This is not something that we do. Okay. Okay, who wants to answer Vivian's question?
I'll answer that. Is that the question I saw earlier about being worried about no one attending a session as a speaker?
Yeah.
Okay. Vivian, I was a first-time speaker last year, and probably had the same worries. There are just so many delegates that it's incredible. I've never seen any. I didn't see anything like that, and I've never seen an IATEFL event where no one has attended a session. You're more likely to have the opposite problem, that there'll be too many attendees, particularly for some of the maybe smaller rooms. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. You know, encourage people to come as well. You know, tell people that you meet what you're speaking about, and you'll definitely get some people who'll be interested and will come along because of that. So, yeah, just let people know and don't worry too much. I'm sure it'll be great.
Great. Okay, Lala, again, this is a question for head office. Anything with visas, invitations, and so on, please contact head office. We've put the address here. Look at the website and then just go to contact us and ask them about that. Whether embassies give visas, I can't answer that, but contact head office. So we've got a couple more questions. We're going to extend by a few minutes. Question from Fiona. Do people organize meetups in the evening to chat about special interests?
Hi, can you hear me, yeah?
Yes.
Yep. Yes, they do. There's all kinds of meetups get organized. I'm involved with the ELT-PICS group. We met up for a lunchtime. You end up finding, though, that you haven't got enough evenings left. Be prepared for meeting up for breakfast and lunch as well as evenings. All right? But yeah, it's pretty easy to do. There's, you know, you can do it online or when you meet people in different sessions. Yeah, there's plenty of social stuff going on as well as workshops and things. So, yeah. Yeah, have a breakfast diary.
Wonderful. Fiona mentioned online. We are going to post some information about different ways to either get 3G, so with top-up cards, buying a SIM card, as well as the Wi-Fi that's at the venue. But we're going to give some information about this. Last year I bought a card for £15, which gave me Wi-Fi through 3G for the entire conference. I just brought an old cell phone, put it in, and I was set. But there is Wi-Fi, of course, at the venue. How formal is the dress code? Well, from the business English SIG, I usually get dressed up, but I think people wear anything they're comfortable in.
Can I ask
speakers and attendees? Sure. Please.
Yeah, I noticed the two people asking, say, Brazil and Valencia. Be prepared for all weathers. You know, it's not so formal dress code, but you can get caught out with the shoes and the gloves and all that stuff. Yeah, so it's not too formal. No, not at all. Whatever you're comfortable in.
Exactly. Wear comfortable shoes and bring warm clothes. Okay, Elena, yes, we have posted this 16th. Yeah, I think it ends at around 2:30. That's a good question because I also had to book a flight. I think it's around 2:30 or 3. That preliminary program we have posted. If somebody can copy paste that again, I think it's there. Wonderful. Excellent. I'm not sure. And the last question, do we have access to people who are going to the conference before getting there? Someone want to answer that?
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you first. Go after you.
Okay. I was going to say, what I did was most people I got hold of through social media, through the Facebook group, with speakers. Once I knew who was speaking, I found some of their blogs online and contacted them by that, or found them on LinkedIn. So there are quite a few, I think, ways that you can get access to people, not necessarily directly through IATEFL, but through a lot of related channels. So again, I just encourage you to get out there, try and find people online, and just send them an email, message them. People are generally very accommodating and welcoming and keen to get in touch.
Great. There's one last question which I can cover. This depends on the size of the room. There are different size rooms because there's so many parallel sessions going on. So it just depends on the room the speaker is put in. If you think it's going to be really crowded, get there early. And if you're asking about your own, we never know. So I think we're going to wrap up. And I just want to say thank you so much to the 8 speakers who devoted their time. We thought it was really important for people to hear from others who have been in this situation, as I mentioned at the beginning, and I'm thrilled that so many people came along to hear this. This will be recorded. There is a recording. It will go on the IATEFL website in with the how-to webinars. It won't happen until sometime next week because these are already uploaded. These are uploaded by head office, so they have to do it. The recording will get sent to head office. It will go on the website, and if you have questions about payment, visas, and so on, please contact head office. They are the people who can help you with this. So I'd like to again thank all the speakers.